All right, let's talk about this. What's up? It's Kinfolk. What's up, Kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. I'm in mourning. Okay. I have been on one side of this issue from the jump, and you very much know that. There are folks that have called me names in the comments. I've had to block them because I'm cool with the civil discourse. I'm cool with disagreeing. Just don't call me names. Nobody works their butt harder than me, right? And nobody I know loves college football, at least doing it this way, more than me. But there's all of you that love it just as much as I do. And to hear that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have both canceled their fall sports just sucks. And we can say that. Now, the numbers are, there are now more leagues in the FCS and FBS that have canceled fall football than there are ones that still plan to play it. That said, 3 of what we call the Power 5, the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC, still have plans to play college football today. Now, Scott Frost, head coach at Nebraska, came out earlier on Monday and said, hey, we want to play in the Big Ten, but we are comfortable looking for places to play elsewhere. And Ohio State coach Ryan Day went so far as to say, I'm swinging as hard as I can for my players right now. And that can mean a number of different things. So Ohio State has a new president, and presidents are risk-averse by nature. And I don't know what kind of a football fan she is, but safe to say there was a 12-2 vote that a lot of people said didn't happen, and I trust Pat Forty on most things when it comes to college football. And he was going, 12-2. The only 2 that voted against it were Iowa and Nebraska, which means that Ohio State voted for it, which means that draw your own conclusion there. But that also means that there's no Wisconsin, which has an enormous fan base and so looks forward to football and so wants to play football. Barry Alvarez has even said, yo, man, we could lose $100 million if there's no season. And right now there is no season. There's no plans for any of those teams to play. Now, the last time that a Big Ten team went rogue was 1930 against Iowa, or not against Iowa, as Iowa, and Iowa went rogue because they got caught with a slush fund and had to fire all their coaches, and then only were let back in the Big Ten when Purdue just kind of broke the line and scheduled them. Now, what's interesting is that the Big 12 feels like the pendulum, right? Because the SEC has already put out feelers to the Big 12 saying, hey guys, don't break. Because I feel like if it goes 3-2, you'll slowly see the ACC and the SEC back down. I also believe that until the SEC backs down, we can't definitively say that there's no college football, because that conference is not only the most powerful in college football, but it is also the one that has the most to lose if there's no college football. That said, message board me, not rational me, message board me, would love to see Nebraska and Ohio State in the Big 12. 1, gets it back to a 12-team league. 2, those are 2 of the most storied programs in all of college football, right? I mean, I goofed today when I said I thought Nebraska was the only school in history to have an offensive lineman, a tailback, a quarterback, and a defensive lineman all finish in the top 5 among Heisman voting. And since 1996, Ohio State's done that, with Orlando paced with guys like Zeke Elliott and Beanie Wells, with Troy Smith, with Chase Young, and on it goes, right? So that fan base loves football and wants to play. And I very much would be interested in seeing how that works out for them if they try to. Now, there's a way to play football, and I feel like this is the part of my argument that nobody wants to pick up on. You can play football this year if you bubble. If you bubble. But to bubble, you would have to recognize that football players are not like the students that they go to school with, that they are no longer student athletes. They're just athletes. Because you cannot give football players better care than you give the student body without getting just railroaded with lawsuit after lawsuit, and then you change college football forever. So what we've seen from the Big Ten is 2 things. 1, either they made the right decision based on the medical information that they have not shared with the rest of us that we would like to know, or 2, they are that afraid of upending college football that they would rather cancel the season than share the wealth and have the voices at the table added, or have athletes added to the voice at the table. I find that to be wild interesting, and also wildly selfish, because it's $10 billion, right? But that's another discussion, and that's not one that the Big Ten wants to have. Now, there's a doctor who will say that you can play through COVID. There's a doctor that will say you can't. It's about which one you're choosing to believe. But this feels like a place for the lawyers and the doctors to decide who plays what, because liability is going to be such a tremendous issue moving forward, because we don't know what the wide-reaching ramifications of COVID-19 are. It's not as simple as just signing your life away and saying that you want to play college football. That's not how it's going to work. Like, even if you did that, you could still later dispute that in court. And the Big Ten would never want to be up in trial trying to talk about how, hey, you signed a waiver saying that if something happened to you, we were absolved. No, like, that's not going to work. Like, even if you believe that that's the way that it should go, again, I'm telling you, the way American court systems work, that's not going to be on the table. So you're dealing with those two things. The Pac-12 also has a bunch of schools in California, in Washington, and Oregon. All three of those states have been very clear about, we're shutting things down, okay? Even in my state of Oklahoma, I mean, it's about 40% of us wearing masks, right? There's folks about that just don't do it. You know, I went to get my hair cut as the Big Ten is doing what it's doing, and then I walk into the barbershop, nobody's wearing a mask. I'm like, okay. We don't actually want football that way, because if we wanted football, we would be wearing the mask. We would be doing everything that the public health officials tell us to do, and we would demonstrate to them that it's safe to play, but we haven't been able to do that. Now, science has been very clear about what needs to happen and how it would happen. People have wanted to argue with science. Carl Sagan taught us not to do that, you know? Like, it's just not a thing that you do. And yet, here we are. So, again, if you're here, please hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to try to go through the chat. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend in this stream, but I want to do it because this is historic and everybody is feeling some kind of way, and you should, right? This sucks, you know? So now we're getting news from Ross Dellinger at Sports Illustrated that he and Pat Forty have been told the ACC presidents have been in constant communication with counterparts in the Big 12 to gauge their plans. If the Big 12 were to join the Pac-12 and the Big 10 in canceling 2020 season, the ACC would feel compelled to do the same, which gets back to what I was saying, which is that the Big 12 is the swings vote here, right? This is an election year, so I feel like this works. We know that the Big 10 is already pulled out. We know the Pac-12 is already pulled out. They cast their votes. We know that the ACC and the SEC want to play, and they more or less cast their votes. The Big 12 has been kind of silent, and I've been really interested to see how that goes, because silence is one way of doing it, but that also means you don't know what you're doing, right? So you want to be able to continue to talk this through. Add to this that last Saturday night, Oklahoma sent a press release out at 10 o'clock saying that they sent their players home precisely because they did not know when they would be playing football, because the game that was moved up to August 29th against Missouri State from September 5th might be actually moved back to September 12th, but we don't know that for sure because we don't know what the schedule looks like. And the Big 12, unlike the ACC, SEC, Big 10, and Pac-12, hasn't put out a schedule of opponents. And that's the other thing that you're right to be pissed about. Nothing has changed about the virus and the disease in the time between, one, getting back to football in late July, and two, releasing your schedule like last week, okay? And that was a really cool thing, and we all felt euphoric about it. I made an emergency upload about it because that's where we were, right? Now, Dominic, you're not going to get too far with me talking about liberal versus Republican. You're just not, all right? It's a good way to get put in timeout. Matter of fact, I'm telling you, the political conversation on this particular topic at this particular day, I'm just not going to deal with. I'm just going to be a tyrant right now. I can't. You know, I'm trying to talk through the information at hand and not the politics, because you all know what I do with politics, okay? Many of you believe differently than I do, and that's okay. I'm good with that. We're cool. But I'm not going to deal with it right now in the chat. I'm just not. All right, so if there are questions in the chat, please drop them in here. I know that one has been, what's this going to do to recruiting, RJ? I don't think a whole hell of a lot, quite honestly. I mean, Tumise Adeleye reopens his recruitment, but I don't think that has anything at all to do with the Big Ten choosing to play or not play football. I really don't. I think it's more about what was he going to be able to do at Ohio State and what other options there are, particularly Texas A&M, Alabama, and Florida. I think that class at Ohio State, and for that matter, classes in the Big Ten, are going to mostly stay together, but they could get poached. And the reason they could get poached is because, let's say that the Big 12, the SEC, and the ACC get to play football. Well, then let's also say, a big one, they get to have visitors. We all know that one of the biggest reasons that a kid commits to a school is because he visited that place last or visited that place most. So expect to get, poached, which is what Ohio State did to a bunch of teams under Urban Meyer, and right now even with Ryan Day. So that's part of recruiting, right? That doesn't really have anything to do with the pandemic. I think your recruiting class also knows that they're not playing college football this year. They're trying to make sure they get their senior seasons of high school football in. And they are already trying to set up for next year. Now, that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at recruiting is, how are you going to be able to impress upon kids that they should continue to go to Ohio State? Because like Travion Henderson is a 5-star recruit who committed to Ohio State blind, right? And that was like, whoa, look at Ohio State. Look at what they've been able to do. First dude to do that highly ranked since J.K. Dobbins. Difference is J.K. Dobbins eventually got to go on a visit. Travion Henderson no longer gets to go on a visit, and he doesn't get to play high school football his senior season. Like, this sucks for him. Like, it totally sucks. And in other cases, like Tony Grimes, he just decided to reclassify and join North Carolina in August. And now that's even on the table because he tried to join him because he wanted to play football this year. He did not much care that it wasn't his senior season. He wanted to play football. So now there's news from Pete Thamel from Yahoo Sports saying after the Pac-12 canceling football and all sports, so like basketball is gone too in the Pac-12, the Big 12 can be looked at like a swing state in an election. I just said this. A Big 12 source in the wake of the Big 10 Pac-12 news said there's an increasing sentiment that we'll play. Yo. All right, so this news broke while I'm talking with you, so I apologize that I'm going to read this out loud to you blind, but I feel like we're all living in this thing together, and that's why I wanted to do this, is so we could commune together, because I really believe in community, and I believe in doing this stuff together. All right, so as I'm scrolling this, and I'm looking at it, the lead here is the Pac-12 has canceled the fall football season. Multiple sources told Yahoo Sports the league is scheduled to make an announcement formal on Tuesday afternoon, continuing a day of seismic news. And decision on the Big 10, Pac-12, Pac-12, Pac-12. What else we got about the Big 12? Okay, there's literally nothing in here about. Okay, there it is. The Pac-12 decision shifts the intrigue to the Big 12, which has a call Tuesday night. Tonight. The Big 12 is being viewed in college circles like Ohio or Florida in an election, as it has the power to dictate the future of the sport. A high-ranking Big 12 official told Yahoo Sports on Tuesday afternoon, the feeling remains that the league will attempt to play. There's an increasing sentiment that will play, the official said. The decisions by the Big 10 and Pac-12 also put an onus on the ACC and SEC, which have stated clearly this week that they'd like to attempt to navigate the start of their seasons. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey pointed out on Twitter on Monday that the SEC, quote, has been deliberate, end quote, since March in making decisions about the virus. And that's also damning on the part of Big 10. Doesn't feel like these were steps that were taken after a bunch of other deliberate steps were taken. Quite literally, had months to figure this out. Months to do it. I'm over here making 4 videos a day, doing 4 segments a day on this show, in addition to 2 hours of radio 5 days a week, and Lord knows how many other breaking news segments saying exactly that. You have a chance right now. You could say, hey, this is how we're going to make the public health officials comfortable, and this is how we're going to do liability. And you know what? Let's just overhaul this thing called amateurism and make sure we don't lose a season of football. And now we're also looking at the first season of lost football in the Big 10 and the Pac-12 since World War II. Buh. All right, what else we got in here? Who do you think is better, Caleb Williams or Spencer Rattler? The one that gets to play, dude. Like, what? Can Ohio State leave and go to another conference, or can they go independent? I think it'd be tricky to go to another conference. I think it's doable, but it's tricky because your television rights deals are tied up with other networks, namely the Big 10 network, right? How would they feel about you going to the Big 12, where you're going to play on ESPN Plus and Fox and ABC and the like, right? But I think there's a way to work it out, because at this point, people are just looking to get football on television. Because once you get football on television, then you can divvy up the money. And nobody's going to make the kind of money they expected to make. Nobody. The goal is to have some money coming in, because Scott Frost makes this point. It ain't about me and I want to play football. It's about, if we don't play football here at the University of Nebraska, there's a lot of people that ain't going to have jobs, and it's going to decimate our athletic programs in ways that nobody is able to see, and quite literally could set them back a long way, right? And I get that. That's also very true, and it's a valid point. Let me see. I for real got dudes arguing about Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams on the day that the Big Ten and Pac-12 have folded. Oh, okay, cool. What else we got in here? Okay, Mark Ferris, you get timeout, dog. You get timeout. I'm just not doing the politics today. I had like 300 people show up just to try to yell at me about politics, and nah, I'm good. Let's see. Create the Big 24. That's actually something that I've been interested in. Okay, so I wrote these down with my producer on the RJ Young show on the Sports Animal earlier this morning. There's really like 24 teams that I'd be comfortable with going into another league altogether. Out of this Power 5, we create a super league, right? And it would be the only school outside of the Power 5, because I consider Notre Dame a Power 5 program, that I would include, be Houston, because Houston's footprint is enormous. Houston, it really wants to be good at football. I mean, 1989, Andre Ware wins the Heisman Trophy without his game being on television at all. Like, not one single game on television. And Tilmer Fertitta is the kind of booster that would try to will them into that space, right? They'd be better than what Oklahoma State is in the Big 8 or the Big 12. They just would be. So, Florida State, Clemson, right? Virginia, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, right? Oregon, because Phil Knight and Nike money, USC, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, like all but 4 teams in the SEC, like Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. I'm sorry about you. No, we don't. Nah, not really, right? But Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, come on down. Alabama, of course. LSU, we saved you a seat, right? I just think that that's the way that it's going to have to be, because if you have schools that have a hard time making payroll, they need to be in a separate league, right? And I know that everybody wants to be in the Power 5, but if you ain't got Power 5 money, then you ain't got Power 5 money, right? It's about having the chips to get into the poker game. It's not about how good you play poker. Ask Boise State. Marty Smith coming out on ESPN with this. Provided the conference's medical advisors say it's ultimately safe to play, a Power 3 scenario works for 2020. Big 12, ACC, SEC. Play the schedules you've already created. Big 12 is a 9+1. ACC is a 10+1. SEC is conference-only games. Best 4 still play in the college football playoff. Like, in that one, there is no Ohio State and Nebraska, so send all your hate mail to Marty Smith, Ohio State and Nebraska fans. Meanwhile, if you're just a fan of a Big Ten team, like Purdue, my goodness, you lost Rondale Moore opting out. You're paying Jeff Brom a top 10 salary, and you don't even play football. And nobody's actually getting upset about that. My goodness, man. Wow. All right, what else we got in here? I'm not so in love with the Big 3 idea if Nebraska and Ohio State can't play. I mean, if they want to play, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be allowed to play. I would just add them to the mix. I would. Will players in the leagues that have canceled lose a year of eligibility? Marcus asked this question. Also, he's a member of the channel, so I was able to spot the badge, and that's why I was able to see his question. So appreciate you being a member there, Marcus. That's a good question that you raised, because there is no answer yet. Nobody knows what they're doing with eligibility, which is another thing on the list of damning items for which they did not come up with any resolution. Like, I can't get around that, because, like, I know how I would go about this. I know that I would have wanted to have these plans in place months ago, and I know that I would have wanted to get everybody involved that I had to, and then make a decision about eligibility, about spring football, about rogue schedules for teams or programs that just have decided, hey, we'll take on the liability of playing a fall football season if the Big Ten won't. I would have done all these things, and I would have forced the NCAA to help us do that, because they're the maid service for which we run all these things through. So I get it, but the answer to your question is nobody knows, right? And I hope that they don't lose in a year of eligibility, but that's the only way that this seems to work, right? That this is just a lost year, that they just don't renew your scholarship. Like, we've seen a few of those get opportunities. If you didn't play your season, like, then you had the option, or your coach had the option of bringing you back. But in many cases, they already just kicked you out the door because they had an incoming class, and you want youth more than you want experience. I can't see, say, an Ohio State saying to Shaun Wade or Jonathan Cooper to come back if they know that they're going to get this new crop of kids like Kalen Johnson, like Jordan Hancock, all coming in. You just don't have enough scholarships, and you want to be able to grow the next group where Shaun Wade, Jonathan Cooper, go try your luck at being pros, because that's what college football is about for those guys, right? If you're the top cream of the crop, you want to play 3 years, you want to go get to the NFL. If you don't plan out in those 3 years, this kind of thing might happen to you, right? And that's just football. As much as that sucks, that's what it is. Like Justin Fields, he ain't coming back for what? Why? No. It's going to be CJ Stroud or Jack Miller time. That's what it's going to be, right? I don't think anybody wants to run Gunnar Hoke out there, but he'd also lose this year too. He's like Justin Fields. He's a senior. There's just so many dudes that, yeah, we wanted to see play. They're just going to get a chance to play. Like I was doing this segment about all these guys that needed to play 2020 to show that they could be first-round draft picks, like Kyle Trask at Florida, like Tanner Morgan at Minnesota State, or Minnesota. Like, there is no Minnesota State. There might be, but he goes to Minnesota. Quincy Roach, who transferred from Temple to Miami after being Defensive Player of the Year in the American, having 13 sacks. There's all kinds of dudes that fit this. Dylan Moses at Alabama, right? Yeah, he lost a year to an ACL injury. He wants to be able to show that he's got the goods. I mean, Tyreek Smith, he's supposed to be the next in line behind Chase Young and Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa. Like, that's what it is. No, Justin Fields is not transferring. I mean, no. Transferring to where? First, show me who's going to play football. If you show me who's going to play football, cool. But like, Justin Fields not transferring to Oklahoma because Spencer Rattler's the dude now. You're not going to delay him a year. You're just not. You already did that with Jalen Hurts. Now, could Justin Fields go to somewhere else where they need a quarterback? Say like Baylor? Cool, but who wants to transfer to Baylor? Maybe somebody that doesn't have a team, right? So that would be interesting. And those are fun topics. Those are fun topics. Because like, I would love to see Dax Hill and Josh Proctor, safeties at Michigan and Ohio State respectively, transfer to Oklahoma. But the likelihood of it happening, probably not, right? Ohio State would be a 3 or 4 loss team in the SEC. Yo, SpawnQuest Gaming paid money to post that. All right. I can't wait to see how that goes. 3 or 4 losses. Wow. Well, I've said LSU will catch 5 in the SEC, so that's, what else we got in here? I'm hearing rumors of Fields going back to Georgia. Thoughts? No, because they brought in JT Daniels and Jamie Newman. They don't have enough spots. Carson Beck is still back there. Stetson Bennett takes up a scholarship. And you got Brock Vandagriff on his way in. No, it just doesn't happen, right? And that's kind of the real interesting part of this. Everybody made decisions on their quarterbacks already. Kalen Newton transferring from Howard to Auburn. KJ Costello transferring from Stanford to Mississippi State. Like we've seen how this goes. And yet, man, there's going to be a bunch of Ohio State kids on the market, but I'm not certain that Ohio State's given up on playing football. The Big Ten has. I'm not certain the Ohio State has. Jed, homie, we're not even sure if we get to play football. Like, suspensions go from 6 games to 5 games in a 10-game schedule. They'd still have to serve those 5-game suspensions. But that's a happy question. That's a happy question. I would love to be able to give that question my brain, but right now I'm just trying to focus on whether or not we get to play football. Shout out to Jed, who is an outstanding meteorologist here in Oklahoma, and you should definitely give him a follow on the Twitters, and you should watch him tell us all about what weather is coming to destroy Oklahoma next. Storm chasing here is like its own sport. Calling Jim Delaney's like saying calling Dan Beebe. Like, Kevin Warren's becoming the new Dan Beebe, whether he wants to be or not. See, the SEC is a joke. The Big Ten little teams beat SEC teams. That's Byron Banks. You can have at him. Yo, man, like, the SEC has had 7 national champions since 2007. All other schools combined have 6. How are you going to tell me that the SEC is a joke? They're literally lording over the sport. That's just facts. I'm not even an SEC guy. Like, that's just facts. Who's about that? Like, nobody. All you got to do is actually do some research and plot it out. Though, those are the kinds of questions probably going to be doing for the next 6 months. My goodness. This show without college football, gonna be lots of NBA, lots of Arsenal. Yeah, lots of recruiting. That's what's gonna be. Why are you clowning Baylor? Because it's got the worst sexual assault skin on the history of the... I clown Baylor. I clown Penn State. I clown LSU. I clown Michigan. I have my reasons. Let's see. What else we got in here? Looking. Hey, James, you understand that, like, when you use profanity, it automatically blocks that, right? Okay. Man, I'm going to be doing a lot of Dallas Cowboys takes. You know that, right? Let's see. What else is in here? If all Power 5 cancel, do you think they will have a playoff? No. No, I don't. I mean, you saying no college football was nice knowing you, RJ. Like, yo, man, I'm used to, like, none of y'all being around here during off season. I'm used to it. It's how this show got done, right? There's literally 8 months of off season, and somehow I managed to make it through. Most of y'all aren't even subscribed to the channel in the first place. See, what's going to happen with UCF? How will this affect them? Not to mention Mackenzie Milton comes back this year from injury. It's a lost season right now, Clay. It's a lost season. I can't see Central Florida playing any more than the American, though the American has said it wants to play. So the American and the Sun Belt have said they want to play. Think about that. The American and the Sun Belt have not canceled football before the Big Ten and the Pac-12 did. Wow! We also need to rethink who thinks football is important. Just saying, right? As opposed to who thinks that football might get their players killed. Let's see. It's just Bama and the rest. Okay. No, not. I mean, if it was just Bama and the rest, why wasn't Bama in the college football playoff last year? Food for thought. Let's see. Cover 19 is not okay. See, this is how you end up getting put in timeout, dog. You come in here with these asinine, just conspiracy takes in real time, and I'm just not gonna. I'm not doing it today. Not today. Not today. For those of you that don't know, I do read the comments. Okay, and you want to jump in there, you want to call me names. That's on you. Just know that you risk getting blocked and never having anything to say on the channel again. Let's see. I'll stay for recruiting. I mean, what do you think this channel? Okay, this channel is only recruiting information during the off season. What are you talking about? That's all we talk about is where these kids are gonna go to college. Let's see. Truett, stop doing the all caps thing, dude. You're just annoying me. Stop it. Seriously, have no idea what I'm going to do myself if there's no football. You'll find a way, just like you found something to do in April and May when you got cooped up inside. You'll find a way. Let's see. What else we got in here? Anything else? I've been subscribed for years, bro. This man is Drake with the back-to-backs. Appreciate you, Neva. Never dosing. Okay, all right. Nebraska should join up with the Big 12. Yeah, that segment's up. Let me see. You gonna do soccer videos? Yeah, Kaleem, I'm probably gonna do some Arsenal stuff. They drive me nutty anyway. Let me see. What else we got in here? Seems there's only a handful of coaches who want to speak out. I mean, that's true on almost every topic. Like, I was counting the coaches that didn't have anything to say during Black Lives Matter. It's more than you think. See, feel bad for you guys. Prove Jonathan Cooper. Okay, Liverpool. There are 9 college. It's not about the dome stadiums, Reggie. That's not what it's about. It's about once you tell everybody that you're treating college football players differently than you're treating the student body, you open yourself up to liability and lawsuit. Nobody wants to get sued. So they'd rather not play football. Do I keep up with MLS? I mean, is that yeah? I mean, yeah, but like not really. See, Mr. TW says, if the SEC is the only conference to play, that means the SEC champ will be the national champ, so nothing really changes. I mean, Oklahoma State claimed the 1945 national champ, and I think they caught three losses that season, and Alabama has claimed has claimed more titles than any other program has claimed, right? So, yeah, let's not. The Big Ten will sue whoever plans to leave. I mean, good luck with that. Amateurism is a joke, and I've been telling them to give this up for quite literally a decade, and they won't. They brought this on themselves. I got no sympathy for them. The American will work with the remaining Power 5 conferences. We'll see. Michael Penix Jr. will be the best quarterback in the Big Ten next year. How you figure the dude from Indiana's go? All right. Walk that out. Let's see. We need to play. I mean, we need to not die. We need to not get sick. Those things are important too. Just throwing that out there. Things kind of matter. Do I follow college hockey? Do I look like I follow college hockey? Look at my face. Look at my face. Do I look like I follow college hockey? Huh? Really? Really? College hockey. Look at what Indiana did when he got hurt. You mean lose football games? They were ranked for like that 1 week. That was a big week for them. That was the first time they were ranked in the top 25 in 30 years. I'm joking. It was 20 years. But you get the point. Man. Goodness me. College hockey. My goodness. You know what? I'm also just a tremendous figure skating fan. All about that synchronized swimming. You know what? The only college hockey I would watch is probably women's college hockey because they're good. They're really good. Let me see. Yo, man. Come on, man. Again, I'm gonna answer this college hockey question or answer this track and field question the same way I answered this college hockey question. Look at my face. Do I look like I follow track and field? Because I feel like the answer is different than hockey. But look at my face. Do I look like I follow track and field? Kind of questions are these? Oh my God, this chat is stupid. Women's volleyball is legit. Yes, it is, dog. Yes, it is. Women's volleyball is super legit. Super legit and super necessary. Let me see. The socioeconomic concerns for some of these players not being able to go off to their college campuses is definitely real. There are so many downsides to this. Travis, the socioeconomic concerns of these players needing to go home also means that they're not going to be mingling with 20,000 other students on campus. And if you want to treat them differently, that's fine, but you also need to outline that in writing. Once you outline that in writing, you're going to get stomped on by any good attorney. And you know what? It would make me want to go actually finish law school and sue you because I've been waiting on any good reason to come after NCAA amateurism basically since 1906, which means I've been waiting on it for 81 years that I was not on Earth. So if you really want to take it there, we can take it there. But until then, you got to treat those players like you treat everybody else, even if you particularly do not. And your argument of what you particularly might do is the reason why you're not actually coaching a team. Let's see. Bruh, but that javelin though. Nah, man. Put me in the 400. I'll run a man's race. I should say I'll run a woman's race because they're so strong. I would run a 50-point and watch like Natasha Hastings go 49-4 and she faster than me. Yeesh. Let's see. RG, you look like, okay. All right. Or are you getting put in timeout? Because there's nothing about me that looks like Barry White. The only reason you said that is because I got a beard and my hair is not in a ball fade. Yeah, I'm not going to. Nope, you getting timeout for that. That's just what it's going to be. No Barry White jokes. No, none of that. Nah. Somebody sees a black man with dreads and a beard and they automatically want to say he looked like me. That could get you blocked too. Or a timeout. Won't get you blocked. Put you in timeout. Yeah, because people need to be learned. 800 meters is absolutely that race. I watched Donovan Brazier? That dude went like 144 in the 800. I'm going, nah, folk. Ain't no way. 144? That's a good 600 meter time. Let's see. I am a reluctant Dallas Cowboys fan, Ginger. A reluctant Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm not so proud of it anymore. This man just said that I favor Jalen Hurts, and that is how you get put in timeout. Jalen Hurts. You're new to the channel, aren't you, Jared? You're new to the channel. You're not up on game. All right, somebody put him up on game. Put him up on game. Let's see. Do you think all this canceled conference is a ploy to start a super conference? No, I do think that it's a ploy to stop the players from organizing. I think that's on the table. Just for clarity, postponing was a correct decision in your mind, just not in your heart. Absolutely. My heart is with football, but my mind needs to govern my heart. Think about where you are. Think about what is around me. Yes, of course. I've been saying from jump they need to not play football. I'm not happy about it. I, like you, have a lot to lose because of it. But I'm also not going to willfully tell these children to go out there and get hurt. Not any more than they already do. I mean, it's enough that we already say, cool, go get that concussion, go get that CTE. That's bad enough. But we have tried to curtail hits. We have limited practice. We have limited pad to pad. We've also talked to coaches about how they challenge the players, whether it be physically or verbally. And yeah, this is another step in that direction of making football safer. That's what I see. Let's see. What's your take on Gwinnett County, Georgia, nationally? I don't know, man, because North Gwinnett is all right playing some football, but there's some folks that in that part of Atlanta that I'm just not. I don't mess with. I just don't mess with. Mostly because they don't mess with me, but I don't mess with. So will Ohio State still be having a season or not? Nobody knows, man. I suspect they're going to try to do everything they can, but they got to get past their president first. And it feels like their president don't want them to play football. The SEC will become separate how? No Bucks are trying, but it's slow. Charlie Kohler is not a top 3 tight end. Could have been this year if they play. All right. I think that's about it. I try to give y'all about 40 minutes. If you like the channel, please subscribe to it because I know that the majority of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed to it. So subscribe to it. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers here in the future. People have already purchased all the stickers. Those are going in the mail. The ones that haven't already gone in the mail. I upload a video every single day, a couple times a day at a minimum. Most of the times 4 times a day. If you aren't a member of this channel, please consider it. I mean, membership starts at 99 cents a month. I mean, you're basically paying less than a penny per video. And not everybody watches every video. I'm the only person that watches every video. That's just what it is. And then there's stuff like this. I think I'm going to start doing some member-only streams and member-only podcasts pretty soon too. So, yeah, Michigan enters the chat just as I'm getting done. How about that? All right. That is going to be it for me. Y'all take care of each other. We will see you tomorrow. Deuces.